The Leafs are making multiple moves ahead of tonight's game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it is no secret that the Leafs have some big decisions and some big changes to make surrounding a couple of their key players, and the changes that Craig Berube made today may surprise you. So I'm going to break that down, as well as a couple of other updates we have. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But Darius, let's just dive right into it. There's a lot to go over today, specifically surrounding the game tonight. We made a video on it yesterday that big changes were coming. And the changes have been made, but they aren't the ones that a lot of fans and myself personally thought were going to be, made. But let's just dive right into it. A ton to go over today. So the morning started with Max Pacioretty. He's getting reps in the second power play unit here during the morning skate. Looks like he may factor in tonight. No line rushes yet. And of course, it's been confirmed that Ryan Reaves is going to be out in all likelihood, and Max Pacioretty is going to be sliding in. It's still pending confirmation, but it's going to happen at this point. It's all but inevitable. So Darius, no, Pontus Holmberg seems to factor still into the lineup tonight, and Ryan Reaves is the one who was taken out in favor of Max Pacioretty. We both knew that Max Pacioretty was going to be in the lineup today, or at least we assumed after a couple games off. But Ryan Reaves is the one that takes the seat tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised. I knew Ryan Reaves was going to take a seat at some point, during the season this year, and it's happening now, right? And he got into the lineup the first couple of games, and it's time, I think, to. And it's not like he's playing bad or anything. I don't think this is about Ryan Reaves. I think this is like they need some more options on every single line, and I also don't think that this is specifically Ryan Reaves for Max Pacioretty. I think Pacioretty is going to go higher up in the lineup, like third line, and I think, and I've been reading a lot of the comments yesterday, Holmberg is probably going to be the guy who goes down to the fourth line just to see if he can find his game. And Berube is not like this game. We talked about it yesterday. He's not a bad player. He's not an AHL player. I think a lot of people are getting ahead of themselves here, but he's just got to find his game again. And he might be able to do that on the fourth line. And maybe, with some tough love from Craig Berube. And that would be my guess. I think we're going to see a third line of Pacioretty, Tavares, and Robertson, and then we'll see a fourth line of the usual suspects and obviously Holmberg. So not a huge change, but this could change the dynamic of the Leafs lineup tonight, heading into a big game against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is right ahead of them in the standings, and yes, it's early in the season, but you want these points. So I think Berube recognizes that, and he sees that Ryan Reaves hasn't really been doing anything offensively, and the fourth line has been okay, but maybe injecting a little bit more with Max Pacioretty coming back into the lineup.
Yeah, the fourth line has it's cooled down a little bit since its hot start. But that being said, you mentioned it, Ryan Reaves, he has a job out there and he's been doing it fine. Nothing too special. He obviously played because, he played on Saturday against the Rangers, obviously, which makes sense given who the Rangers put out there. But the bigger story here, again, like you mentioned, Pontus Holmberg seems to factor down into the fourth line now, and I'm very curious to see tonight how he does down there, because he is the guy that a lot of fans are clamoring to just take out of the lineup. And again, we're now 10 days or so, that's technically 11 days, away from deadline day, not trade deadline day, but deadline for the Toronto Maple Leafs to make a move surrounding all the long-term IR and the IR guys like Yarncroc, all these different moves are going to happen here. They've been holding out for as long as they could, and maybe this is their final chance to get a look at Pontus Holmberg. And Craig Berube confirms Pacioretty is back in the lineup in place of Ryan Reaves. We've got back-to-back games, so here's an opportunity to get some fresh guys in there, which is a very, it makes sense. Again, the back-to-back, they have a very, very busy week this week, and they need to win some of these games. The points are going to be very important. You mentioned super early in the year, nothing huge. Nothing's going to have huge impact necessarily at this very moment, but these are games you can look back and say, hey, they need to win those. And I'm happy to see Patches back in the lineup. I'm pretty sure he has a higher possibility to play better than Pontus has in the past couple of nights.
Yeah, the last couple of games, right? But like you said, like Pacioretty has the opportunity, and he's coming back in after 2 games off, so he's going to be motivated to score here. And like you said, it's early in the season, yes, but they have 4 games coming up this week. It's a super busy week, and you can't go 1-3, right? I don't even think you can go 2-2. You have to pick up a lot of points here this week, especially against teams like Columbus, and Tampa Bay's right in front of you. And you have a huge game coming up on not only Thursday against St. Louis, which is Craig Berube's former team. Obviously, you want to win that game. But Boston on Saturday, the team that kicked you out of the playoffs. So it's a very busy week that you want to pick up a lot of points. And Pacioretty coming back into the lineup, I wanted to talk about this too. He's on power play 2, right? That's what they were kind of working on this morning. I thought that was interesting because we've been talking about how they have to change up power play 1 because it hasn't been working. I'm not sure why they're fiddling with power play 2 when power play 2 only gets like 30 seconds of ice time anyway. So I think tonight, And going forward too, if the Leafs first power play unit, because you start in the offensive zone, if you cannot get sustained pressure in the first 20 to 30 seconds, or the other team gets the puck and dumps it down, you got to get off the ice because you got to give the other unit an opportunity to work here because you're wasting power play time. And it's been a real issue the first couple of games with the Leafs. So that's just the way I see it. I don't know if Brube is going to and company like Mark Savard are going to think the same way. But to me, you're wasting valuable time at this point and you're fiddling around with power play too when they only have like 20 or 30 seconds to work with anyway. So something has to change here, and it has to start tonight because it's been a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the biggest problem for the Leafs, of course, the power play, and hopefully they can get it going against the Lightning. But yeah, you mentioned, I mean, clearly they have some sort of faith in power play one. Obviously, OEL has been moved up. They've been tinkering with it a little bit, so I think they want to give it a bit more of a sample size there. But yeah, they're messing with power play two, which on a given night only gets a minute to a minute and a half on the ice. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But some other notes here is that Anthony Stolarz is in the Leafs home net and is a projected starter against the Lightning. And don't forget that tomorrow's game on Tuesday is, in theory, the day that Joseph Woll was targeting as a return against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So Darius, they wanted Stolarz in there, which makes tons of sense. They're not going to debut. They'd rather debut Woll against the worst team, assuming he plays tomorrow. That's still not confirmed yet. Maybe we'll hear some more at practice today. Maybe we'll hear after the game tonight, depending on how it all goes, or most likely tomorrow morning for sure. But Woll's return is pretty imminent at this point, and it's going to be very interesting. Stolarz is off to a scorching hot start, even against the Rangers. Like a team gave up 4 goals, but 2 of those were empty netters. So I don't know. It's almost Joseph Woll time, which will be interesting. 'Cause that means they're probably going to send, or they'll have to ultimately send Dennis Hill to be back to the Marlies alongside Matt Murray.
The Marlies, who have been red hot so far this season, starting the season undefeated too. So, one thing is for sure: tomorrow night it's either Joseph Woll or Dennis Hill to be. No surprise tonight with Anthony Stolarz getting the net because he's been great so far this season. He's going to get these games, and he's going to play in a lot of games this year, more than he ever has. So, no surprise there. But Berube did come out this morning and say that it's looking likely that Joseph Woll may make a return tomorrow. I don't know what that means, right? He may be back, but they have been targeting this day for, I guess, a week at this point. So it sounds like he might actually make the trip with them and play, but that's kind of what they've been looking forward to. That's the plan. So it looks like we might see Joseph Woll tomorrow, but if not, it will be Dennis Hill to be, and we'll see Joseph Woll later this week because obviously it sounds like his return is imminent.
Which is exciting, depending if you're a Wall fan or not here. And yeah, a quick note for everybody: the game tonight is exclusively on Prime
That's right.
Videos for viewers in Canada. You get some extra stuff there. So if you don't have Prime, it's unfortunate. We'll be streaming after the game. So if you missed the game or you can't watch it because of Prime, you can tune in for the recap. One final note here before it wraps up: there's the standings to the first 5 games surrounding the Atlantic Division. It's an interesting one. Again, they're playing the Lightning, who are a game ahead of them tonight. The Lightning are 3-1. The Leafs are 3-2. The Bruins 3-2-1. Like, it's still very, very close. And I still think that, but it goes to show, like, this division is going to be a tough one. And especially for the top 4 teams here, you're looking at it. Panthers are looking good, but against the Lightning tonight, they play the Lightning and the Bruins both this week. You got to at least take one of the games. I'd like to see them take both, though. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yeah, they got to win these games and not necessarily, they're going to lose a game in this stretch here. It's a very busy week. Like it's probably just going to happen. That's the NHL, but you have to pick up as many points as possible. You have to try and go at least 3-1. Obviously, you'd like to go 4-0, but you have to go at least 3-1. You have to pick up points here because, yes, it's early and everyone's very close right now, but by American Thanksgiving, you need to have your spot established. You have to be in a playoff spot and in a good spot. So you have to pick up these points. You just have to get in there and get wins. And yes, it's early, but start working on things, get to work and pick up these wins.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what your thoughts are. We'll be live after the game tonight. A big game. Hopefully they can make up some ground in the Atlantic standings, but let us know. See you guys later.